Okay, hopefully we're live now. All right, so the focus for this stream is going to be the hair and how I essentially blocked out the hair really quick. So let's start doing that, and hopefully everyone can hear me fine. All right, so I'm gonna do a different hairstyle for the mask because as you can see, her mask is on, and I kind of want to do a different hairstyle for this. So I kind of want to maybe reshape the idea for the mask and maybe bring some hair out the back. I think that would be pretty cool. Just to kind of give it, I don't know, a little more life, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to be going over the hair and how I did that. It's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. It's not too difficult. All right. And it does get the job done. So let's get started. All right. So we're going to keep the mask on, and we're going to append a new sphere. And with that sphere, I'm going to keep it the same color as before. You can even do like a kind of maybe like a red color. I don't know. That looks pretty cool too. But I do believe that Selena Kyle's hair from the Batman 1990 was actually blonde. So, and I am kind of going in that direction. So we're just going to put a sphere down. Spheres are easier to work with. And I'm going to kind of give her like a kind of mullet coming out of the back. So it's not going to be too much hair, but we're going to use the snake hook, and it's going to ask you, or it's going to tell you that this brush performs better in Sculptors Pro mode. That's true. It does perform better, but we're going to stick with Dynamesh for this. So we're going to go with Dynamesh, fairly low resolution, and since we're using the snake hook, which alternatively is also a really good grooming brush, okay, we're just going to start blobbing out the forms, and I'm going to go wide to thin, and I'm just going to kind of pull it down to the length that I want. And I do want it to kind of be out, like almost like her hair is kind of flowing in the wind. Okay. And we're just going to kind of get an idea as to where we're going with this. So we're just going to kind of block it in a little bit. Do apologize for any weird noises that you might hear in the background. I think they're doing some work outside, and there are sirens. So, okay, maybe we can have it more flowing like this. Yeah, I think the flow of that is actually pretty good. Okay. Give it a little bit of a curl so that we're not completely making it symmetrical. Okay. Now I'm going to hit Control-Shift-D to duplicate that, and that's going to create a new one. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to work independently on this one. Okay. It's going to have its own Dynamesh and everything, and that I do have independent settings for my Dynamesh. Shortcuts for my polygroups, which help tremendously. And maybe you can now kind of put this one this way. And the way I like to think about hair is I like to kind of think of it like if you've ever watched laundry blowing in the wind like a sheet. When it comes to stylized hair, that's what I like to think of it as. So I'm kind of imagining like how would the wind blow this sheet? You know, what are some of the parts that'll be heavier versus some of the parts that are going to be lighter? And if it is an individual, you know, thing of hair, then it's going to be different, you know? It's not always going to be the same. Okay. And this is all just exploration at this point. We're trying to figure out, you know, where we're going to go with this. So I'm just going to kind of duplicate another one, bring it over to the side. Maybe this one can go down on the side. This is why I like using the snake hook, because I like the fact that it drags the very end. So the very middle of the brush, it drags before it drags the outside of the brush. So the circle in the middle, it makes that the top priority. And then once it starts getting towards the outer part, that's when it starts dragging the other side, or dragging the outer part. So it makes it really nice for kind of adjusting things like this. So it kind of gives it that natural kind of look. Okay. Grabbing the other side and essentially doing the same thing. Just kind of using the relax brush to kind of, if there's any kind of skewing or anything like that, I use the relax brush, and then I kind of use the smooth brush to kind of taper it down into a point. So for this, I'm still thinking about the hair as being like kind of like a tapered piece. Okay. And this isn't going to be like the final, because I still want to know what it's going to look like with all of the hair kind of like attached to it. So, or the hair all as one piece. So it's going to be going through multiple changes during this. It's not going to all like be like, this isn't going to be the final version of the hair, you know. It's always going to change until you're absolutely happy with it. Like looking at it from this angle, you can see already that there's like just some weird silhouette shapes happening right there. You know, it's sticking too far out, so maybe you can do something about that. All right, and then just to do something that's easier, just shift duplicate that, control shift duplicate, and then we can just do that. And then we can do the same thing for this, control shift D, duplicate, and then mirror that over. So now we have a little bit faster of a workflow going on. Control-Shift-D, duplicate that. And I kind of want to bring it in here. Make the front view interesting. And I want to make this look like it's actually being tucked in by the mask, okay? So kind of keeping these kind of like all like in a straight fashion. Because the mask is kind of wrangling it, right? Let's make this out more. So it's all going inside of the mask right here, but then it's puffing out right here because hair is like very springy. So it's going to start puffing out right here. Like once it gets out of the mask, it's going to start puffing out. It's going to start, you know, like it's free, you know, it's finally able to do what it needs to do, be all bouncy and whatnot. So it's kind of how you have to think about it. I don't like the way this is sitting, so... Again, just giving the front view more of an interesting kind of silhouette, more interesting shapes. It really does help. I'm kind of tucking in the inside so that it doesn't look like it's like, you know, flat. I think the biggest problem is just working with this outer piece. Let's go here, shift, duplicate that, and I kind of want to curl this one maybe up. So again, using that relax brush and then kind of positioning it. And then using the smooth brush to kind of get its form back. Okay. Hello, welcome, welcome. How was your coffee? Okay, let's do this. T-pose mesh. Okay, let's grab all of these. And now we can sit here and we can kind of adjust them. I'm using mass topological now to edit them individually. Hey, I can't pronounce, let me see. Yeah, I can't, pronounce that name. I'm so sorry about that, but welcome to the channel. Let me see if I can translate. Dima. Hello, welcome to the stream. It was good? Oh, that's good. Let's kind of curl this in. I'm just like now making kind of like interesting shapes with the ends. And I feel like this needs to be more puffy. And I think it's like really about like finding interesting shapes. Yeah, I'm sorry about the live stream earlier. I didn't realize that I was on mute. So there's a lot of the live stream at the end that's like muted. Are you doing that with the mouse? Yes, I usually block in all of the big forms with the mouse. So all of this stuff that I've done so far, minus the wrinkles on the clothing, was all done with a mouse. That means the face was sculpted with a mouse. The body was sculpted with a mouse. Everything was sculpted with a mouse. The mask, everything. The only thing that I did not sculpt with a mouse was the wrinkles on the clothing. I refined that with my tablet. The reason why I use a mouse, it does make it harder, but the reason why I use a mouse is because I'm left-handed and all of the hotkeys are on the left side of the keyboard. So unfortunately that conflicts with me being able to sculpt and use the hotkeys at the same time. So I use a mouse because I use a mouse with my right hand naturally. So therefore I can use the hotkeys with my left hand. So I'm not constricted with speed. You give me hope. I'm glad. I'm glad. All right, cool. I just feel like this is just a little bit too kind of planar. So let's go back into the regular move and just kind of move all of this. Again, I want it to be bouncy looking from all angles. So that also means from the top view, it also has to spring out because hair is unpredictable. Well, it's predictable to those who can predict it, but it's unpredictable to those who don't know how to predict it, if that makes any sense. But it's very springy. It bounces out in all directions. So when you are sculpting something, or when you are sculpting hair that is essentially naturally like that, it's going to be very, very springy in all directions when it's being, like if you've ever looked at a ponytail, when the ponytail is tight around the tie part, it's constricted, but right after the tie, it's very, very kind of like explodey. It bounces out, you know? So that's essentially what hair does, is it like springs out. Healthy hair, it naturally like springs out and explodes, right? So that's kind of what you want to make. Have you dabbled in 3D printing any of your sculpts? Yeah, my wife actually prints them because I suck at printing. It takes more knowledge to print. And I never really got into it, so, but she did because she started printing out some of her stuff. But yeah, she's printed out some of my stuff as well, and she's done a really good job of it. When you do an A or a T pose under the animation, the reason why I'm sculpting it with the arms down is because it just helps it to look more natural, and then afterwards I'll go in and pose it in a T pose. It's very easy to put the arms back in a T pose. It's very hard to sculpt while in a T pose to make the posture and the anatomy correct. So what I normally do is I sculpt it with the arms down first, and then I go back in and just quickly pose the arms up. That allows me to like see like, you know, what are the shoulders going to look like when it's down, and how long are the arms going to be, and basically also just sculpting the natural muscle forms is also very hard to do with the arms up like that. So that's why I sculpt it with the arms down. But I'm not saying do that yourself. I'm just saying that's what I do. Okay, I feel like a lot of these tips can also be kind of out as well. Another one of those cool strands? Yeah. Basically all I did was... let me bring this back in. It's going through a lot of stuff right now. Wow. All right, cool. All right, so basically what I did was, this is all the hair. Let me actually just put this in a folder really quick. Okay. So basically what I did was I appended a sphere. Naturally, positioned the sphere where I need it to be. So you can position it anywhere you want. Make it any length you want. Then what I did was, and actually, maybe a ponytail would actually be pretty cool. Never seen Catwoman with a ponytail. But anyways, then I went to Dynamesh of 40, and we went into Snake Hook, and we just started kind of pulling this out and kind of manipulating it, and using Dynamesh in combination with other stuff to get it the way it is. So that's essentially all I did. And you can also turn on accu-curve, and that's going to pull out a more kind of point. So what accu-curve does, if you go into your brush, go to curve, you can turn on accu-curve. And what that does essentially is if we actually append another sphere and we pull out, you can see that, is it on? Okay, this is turned off. So this is a very, you can see the end of this is very kind of blobbed. It's very soft in its point. Whereas if we turn it on, we turn on accu-curve, you can see how sharp it pulls out. So this is really good for pulling out the tips of the hair, right? So once you've pulled out the hair and you've, shaped it to what you want, and let's say that our Dynamesh is turned on, then you can turn on accu-curve and then pull out a nice kind of point to that. All right, so it's really good for stylized stuff. Okay. ZBrush is expensive. It is expensive, and it's going to get more expensive now that it's a part of Maxon. So honestly, I would jump on that wagon as soon as possible, as soon as you can. Other than that, I would say go get Blender. If you really want to learn sculpting and you really want to get into 3D, go get Blender. If it's too expensive, if ZBrush is too expensive, go get Blender. Get good at that. Sell your models. This is exactly what I did. I took my tax money and I bought ZBrush. I invested in ZBrush because I knew that was going to be something that I wanted to do. But what I would suggest if you can't afford ZBrush is get really good at Blender, do your models in that, sell your models, save up the money, and get software for if you want to work in the industry. If you feel like if you feel like Blender is like, it's perfect for you, boom, you can do everything in it. You've become successful in it. Why would you want to move on to anything else? Then stick with Blender. But if you really want to move into like a studio environment, you want to work with people, you want to get better at models, and you don't want to be a hobbyist anymore, then save up your money to get software that you can afford. There's subscription services now. I would highly suggest doing the subscription services at this point. I do not recommend subscription services if you're a hobbyist. Or if you're just somebody who's a freelance, but somebody who wants to be able to do this kind of stuff, you get the software brand new every single year for a fraction of the price. And why they're able to do this, I have no fucking clue. Maybe it's because they're like getting more people into the software world, and because it's affordable. But you never own the software. But the thing is, like, if you never plan on owning the software, then it should never be a problem for you because you're getting all of the updates, you're getting all of the new stuff, and you're paying a fraction of the price. Let's say I don't like Maya Indie because it's garbage because it's so heavily reduced and it's not compatible with the full featured Maya. So if you wanted to export a file and then you wanted to re-import it into the new Maya full, you can't do that. That's stupid to me. I don't think that should be a thing. But if you are going to continue as an indie and you want to be able to afford this software, then I would highly suggest like selling your models and then using the money to afford indie licenses so that way you can keep doing it. It's an unfortunate thing that you'll never be able to own the software. Um, but what can you do about it? What can anybody do at this point? No matter how much somebody screams that they don't want it, they do it anyways. It makes no sense to me. I honestly think that there should be like legislation involved in like never being able to own what you afford. I get that you want to do like subscriptions, but I don't understand why you're taking away somebody's perpetual license. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I hate this subscription stuff, but it is affordable. As of right now, it's more affordable than paying perpetual every year. Like, I don't advocate for subscriptions, but like I said, it's affordable every single year now, and you do get the upgrades, and you do like get all of the features and stuff like that. You don't have to pay a perpetual price anymore. Um, or you don't have to pay the maintenance price. It's actually a fraction of the maintenance price now, so that's good. But unfortunately, that's where we're heading, and I don't like it, but sucks. Can you show us the reference? I am not using any reference. I am using my brain. I will Google a picture of a brain and I will show you that. I didn't use any reference for any of this. It's all just done from my head. Are you still a student or are you working in the industry? I've actually worked as a freelance for a couple of studios now this year. And I was working for a studio last year and did a couple of freelance projects for indie devs last year, as well as indie artists who are, they're not indie artists, they're, well, yeah, they're influencers on Twitter. And I can't show you any of that stuff because one, it's under NDA. Two, I'm not proud of the stuff that I've done. And three, uh, the stuff on Twitter was like influencers that were doing like porn stuff, so I can't show that. Don't judge me. It's money. I'm gonna take it. We all have to do the dirty deeds. Okay. I've come from your Twitch streams. Did you stop Twitch? I didn't stop Twitch. I'm just not motivated to stream on there for right now. I might get back on there once all this copyright stuff is like stopped, because I'm a little bit afraid of doing streams on Twitch, to be honest, because of like all the copyright nonsense. Like, I don't know. It's just stupid. And the funny thing is I actually got a copyright strike on my YouTube from somebody who their literal studio name was like something porn something. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous. But at least on YouTube, I don't get any, like, I don't get any consequences because I don't make money on YouTube. So somebody could copyright strike me and it wouldn't affect me because I don't make any money off of any of the videos that I do. Um, how much can one can make selling sculpts? Uh, well, it all depends on you. I like the route of selling for cheap because more people can afford it and you make more money making more people happy. So I've sold, let's see, I've uploaded a model like I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, like a month or two ago. Um, and that sold immediately right out of the gate. That sold and that made me like $800 this month. So, I mean, just that alone was enough to kind of be like, wow, okay. And that's disposable income, That's not like money you're making through being able to pay for rent and groceries and stuff like that. That's like disposable income. You save that up and you get programs, things that you need. You gotta learn how to play the game, right? You gotta learn how to play your game, the game that's made for you, or whatever you want to call it. Like, you gotta learn how to spend your money and how to save your money and be able to continue doing what you do, what you love. And ZBrush alone has made me, let's see, I spent $675 when I first got it, and I ended up making like $20,000 on a website selling models that I had made from it. So it paid for itself well over 3 or 4 times already. These are all investments. You have to really stick to it. You have to really tell yourself that you're going to get better. You're going to do good. Because if you don't, you're going to lose out on not only that $600, but all that money you could have made doing it. So it's extremely important that you stick to it. You stick to practicing every day. You stick to, what you want to get good at and developing your skill, so that way you can afford to do this. And technically, I'm just getting started. I'm like in 2016 is when I really started taking this stuff seriously. So I'm just getting started with this. I'm still learning a lot of stuff that other people have already mastered. And for me to go in there and be hired by like some pretty good studios and, be able to work with them and stuff like that at this point in time, and also make the money that I'm making from my models, it's pretty good. It's pretty good start for me, and I'm not going to slow down. Thanks for the answers. So can a not safe for work artist be hired by Blizzard who used to make WoW porn? Well, I would say that if you're going to do not safe for work art, maybe make an alias for yourself, so that way your name isn't directly associated with what you're doing. That way it doesn't look bad on the company for whatever you decide to do on your personal time versus like who they decide to hire. Um, I don't like to mix my personal hobbies. I wouldn't even call not safe for work a personal hobby. I would just say that it's something that's selling and I need money, and that's what it is. That's what you're forced into doing when you don't have any money, right? So, I don't like to mix that kind of stuff with my work life. If my work doesn't want to promote, my alias name, and vice versa, then I'm completely fine with that. And I actually prefer it that way because it's safe for my family, it's safe for me, and everyone is happy. Safe for the company, and everybody's happy. But I would say that if you're going to get hired by a company, don't use your porn as your portfolio. If you have skills enough to do like a Blizzard porn, then I'm pretty sure you have skills enough to do something regular that you can show the company. You know what I mean? Like, instead of, you know, fluid simulations in that sense, maybe do fluid simulations in another way, like a boat sinking or something. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Mitch? How are you? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Still feel like this should be out more. Blizzard threatened to sue a WoW porn artist from the US. He got so scared that he stopped making WoW porn. They can't stop him from doing that as long as he's not making money on it. If he is making money, then they do have the capability of suing him, but you can't sue somebody if they're not making any money. That would be the equivalent of somebody just painting on the sidewalk, a little girl painting on the sidewalk and saying, and having a corporation come along and say, "Hey, you can't paint that because it's our likeness." I mean, that would be like ridiculous. It's creative expression, and they may own the likeness, but as long as they're not making any money off of it, then you can't really do anything. But in this day and age, it's easy to make money from things like that. All you have to do is just like post your PayPal or such, and then if you make 1 cent in donation, or even just one ad plays on the video that you make, you're susceptible to being sued. So, I guess in a way it is possible that he could get sued from it, but you got to be really careful on that, not to monetize it. Been years since I've seen anything from you. Used to be in the stream back then, and you were making like zombies and stuff. Oh my god! Don't tell me. Are you my old mod? Are you one of my old mods that I had? Or are you one of the guys that took one of my zombies and put it on your Sketchfab? I'm trying to remember, because I do remember, like, the zombies that we were making. I think I said he can will the lawsuit. He was making a lot of money. Ooh. I think he was the biggest at that point, but he didn't want to fight it. I don't understand why they would sue him and why they wouldn't just hire him. If he was the biggest person doing that, I would have been like, "Hey, dude, you want a job?" Like, obviously you have talent. You're bringing in people. It's so stupid to me, these companies, and like the way they handle like fans of their work. Oh, you were? Oh, that's cool, man. Welcome back. I still am a mod in the game designers and coders Facebook group. Holy shit. That's awesome, man. Yeah, like I would hire the guy. I just don't understand why companies do that kind of crap, Like where they're like cease and desist. Like, I don't know how things are in Japan, but it seems like Japan's got the right idea when it comes to these kinds of things. Like how they just go, "You took my IP? You took my IP? Dude, we need to do something. We need to collaborate." Kind of thing. But over here, it's just like cutthroat. Oh, you took my ID. That's it. You're screwed, buddy. You're getting in so much trouble. And I think I also want like a few wavy ones on the side. Excuse me. So I'm going to append another sphere, and we're going to put this to like the side over here, and we're just going to make a couple of wavy ones. Right around here. And then I think what I'll do is I'll do another one on the other side. So Control-Shift-D, Alt-M is my key shortcut for bringing it to the other side, and then we can go back into the snake hook and kind of pull that out. And I kind of want something over here. turn off accu-curve. Yeah, looks like that'll be pretty good. Also, where can we buy your sculpts? You can buy them on my ArtStation, Rexcraft. Okay. Yeah, you can buy them on my ArtStation if you find anything you like. I am gonna upload this model possibly after I'm done with it. I did do the topology for it, so you know it's pretty decent. It's zero mesh topology, but it's still, you know, it still holds up really well. So here's the zero mesh topology for this one. Still pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty well done. And it's in two separate parts because there are, like, you know, the suit and obviously the head are different shaders. And also I am going to include like the original body that we worked on. So you guys can modify it any way you want. And yeah, I just got to finish it. My ArtStation should be like a link on my YouTube channel, so it should be like a main link at the top. What was the guy called that used to stream spaceship modeling? His name was something like Tech Workshop or something, but I forgot. Elite Tech Workshop. That's who you're talking about. He did all the hard surface, like, weapons and stuff. Okay. Cool. I'm just curious, what do people do with your models after they buy them? Honestly, I have no idea. Some people have shown me some of the things that they've done, but nothing too graphic or anything like that. They've actually modified them to make them really cool. Somebody made like a couple of furries with the anime one that I did, and I thought that was pretty great. But it wasn't like explicit ones. It was just like a really cute model. It was like a really cute model that was like transformed into like a, you know, like a animal person. So I thought that was really cool. And I honestly don't know. A lot of people don't message me when they do something with my model. All I know is like I really don't want to know. And I respect their privacy, so I don't look up like their emails or anything like that to check to see what they are doing with them. Yeah, elite. 3 polecats in my garden. Pests are eating up the eggs for my chickens? What? I honestly don't even know what a polecat is. What the hell is a polecat? And how can I prevent that from happening to my gardens that I don't have? Okay, let's do this one now. And I kind of maybe want that one to go out like that. Am I the only one, or the eyes move with the camera? They actually do. They actually do. A little fun tip: if you're creating like a render and you want the eyeballs to kind of follow the camera, what I did was I took a madcap texture, or not a madcap texture, a eyeball texture, and I made it into a madcap. So what I did was I made a sphere. I appended a sphere, and then I increased the subdivision. So I subdivided it a lot. And then what I did was I went to a generic matte cap. So in this case, it was matte cap gray. And went over to the material section for the matte cap gray and put my texture in there. And when you put your texture in there, that immediately makes a matte cap. And now you have eyes that literally move with your camera. So no matter where you're rotating, the eyes will always follow. The only thing that's the problem with this is that creepishly enough, when you're moving all the way over, her eyes are still going. So like now her eyes are like all the way like behind her head. But it does make for some good shots when you are kind of like at an angle, or you want her to look up at you or down. Like she just hits you in the face and you're all knocked out and she's like looking down at you or something like that. Just some interesting stuff. I also have regular eyes in here, so don't worry. I have the regular ones right here. Why are those still like that? Oh yeah, it's because I still have that on. But yeah, I do have the regular eyes in here, for later on when I sell the model. But this is just something for right now for aesthetics purposes and rendering. It has nothing to do with like, what it'll finally be like. Do you currently live from modeling? How difficult is it to get there? Do I currently live from modeling? No, but I do have a lot of like expendable income. We currently live from being retired from the military. So my wife actually retired from the military some time ago, and I retired from working on base some time ago after she retired. So we basically, as soon as she left base, I then retired to follow her. And we're living off of that. But this is like disposable income. So I do this on the side as a hobby. And then, if people want to hire me for my skills, they can. And that's disposable income to go for my daughter's like education, her supplies, groceries and stuff like that. And then saving extra for food, gas, stuff like that. So, essentially that's, if I could never do this again, I would still be able to live, but I'm not living from it, if that makes any sense. Just wanted to pop in and say that I think you are very inspiring and I enjoy learning from you. Thanks for showcasing your workflow. Oh, yeah, no problem, Nikolai. And thank you so much for watching, man. It means a lot that it's helping you out. I don't know what Batman ever saw in Catwoman. He is loved by so many great women like Wonder Woman. I don't know. It's just like what people's preferences are, Some people like feisty women, and some people like, homely women. It all depends on your preference, I guess. A polecat is a type of mink. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Polecat, because they're shaped like poles. All right, yeah, I get it. It's a fur cat, fur pole. Okay, I gotcha. Catch them and make them into a tribe. Oh, thank you so much, Mikey. Great tips boost the workflow. Yeah. You sound like a young adult. I'm as old as Neo was when they first started the Matrix, so that's how old I am. I'm actually 35. So technically, yeah, I am a young adult. But I'm not too young, I'm not like 20 something. And I'll probably sound like this when I'm like 40. But I could drink and smoke now and kind of train my voice to be deeper, I guess. Do you like a man's jerky? I like a man's jerky. That's why I buy Slim Jim jerky for kids. Put it in the lunchbox. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this is like way too straight, and like maybe this is too. Okay. I'm trying to keep like the idea of her hair being very flowy and long. But I'm kind of afraid that I might have made it a little bit too long. So let's go back to her original hair and see how long her... Yeah, her hair is now too long. Shit. All right. That's okay. We can do something about that. Okay, so merge it down. In your country, 35 means you can run for president. Really? I thought that was like 85. Every single person that we have like in our freaking like Oval Office and everything is like the Crypt Keeper. Welcome back to politics. Can run for president? I don't think that is I don't think that's a good idea. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge this down. And we're going to adjust the length of these because they're just too long. So let's go here and let's kind of push this up a little bit more and then maybe scale it towards the pivot point. So like right around here. Can probably scale it about right there should be good. That is perfect. All right, cool. So that should be good for her hair size overall. Okay. You make me feel so old. You got to be a bit of a psychopath to be a politician in Washington. I won't disagree with you on that front. I mean, like I said, I'm obviously not going to bash what's happening over here because honestly, I really don't want to get into politics. I really don't want to get into the BS. But like I said, we were on base when all of this stuff started happening, all these changes, all these drastic changes, and it is just bogus. All of it is just crazy. And hopefully things will change. Hopefully things will change for the better. It's just really crazy. Okay. Starting to take inspiration from Arkham Knight's cat, or Arkham Knight's, like, not Catwoman, but Batgirl from her outfit. I don't think it's a good idea for Batgirl to be having, like, her hair out because Obviously, like if you have your hair out, you're going to leave DNA at the crime scene, especially if you're whipping it around like that. So it's not a good idea to have your hair like this. Just FYI, you know. I mean, it's cool, but it's not smart. You want to keep your hair covered up when you're trying to conceal your identity. Why am I teaching you guys that? That's not something I want to teach people. I'm just saying, like, that's just what I noticed. That's great. I wish I had a source of income like that. Now I haven't found a job in 3D for 6 months and I don't know what to do. Just keep practicing, man. Just keep practicing and practicing, and you know, make connections. You know, don't be shy to make connections with people. Don't be shy to reach out to people and be friends with people. Not overly friendly, you know, like, you know, in the sense of like, hi, I'm a creepy guy online, but like, you know, being a part of communities, being a part of like, you know, it really helps being a part of communities, because, you know, people then see what you're doing and they go, hey, I want to hire this guy. This guy looks like he knows what he's doing. He looks like he's competent. Let's go and hire this guy. So, you know, keep your head up, you know, and be a part of communities. It's one of the biggest things is networking. Sometimes it's not even about like applying for jobs. Sometimes it's about networking with people and, you know, being nice to people and being a part of a community. Can I ask you where you developed, or were you deployed outside of the U.S.? No, my wife was never deployed, and I never went with her anywhere. We were always here. Her specific job had to do with supplies and things like that, and I was working with the I was working on base with their stuff. I don't know, like I don't know what I'm allowed to say or what I'm not allowed to say, but yeah, I was working with them on base. And it's an intelligence space, so there's pretty much not a lot of stuff that I can really say. It was, let's just put it this way, it was kind of boring, you know, it was just same old, same old. Okay, I'm actually going to split that off, Alt S for my shortcut, Control Shift D to duplicate that, and then I'm going to kind of rotate it down this way. And then we're going to edit it individually. Basically, I'm trying to make controlled chaos, really. Chaos. And take it into account? Yeah, man. You just outed yourself as a cat burglar? Maybe. And you know what? I probably look like one of those people from Cats. I'll sneak into your window and then in your fridge. I'll get all of your friskies and they're delish. That was. Oh God, dude, could you imagine that? I couldn't imagine me being in a cat suit. Oh man. Okay. I think I also want another one of these. Yeah. There we go. But not in the same sense. Like maybe over. So again, using the relax brush to kind of bring it back to shape. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I like this yet, but this is where like you would probably like take a step back from it and say, hey, do I like this or not? Me personally, I don't know if I like it or not. So, and I can't step away because I'm streaming. So let's just try some things and see if it looks good. And if it doesn't, I'll come back to it after I stream. But essentially, you know, this is where you would take like a break from it, and then you know, kind of rest your eyes and see what you like about it, see what you don't like. Are the shapes good? Are they not good? You know, certain things like that that you want to do. You know, don't try to do everything in one go like I'm doing right now. Don't try to do it all in just like one take. You know, rest your eyes, see what you could possibly change about it. And then, you know, come back to it. But what we're going to do now to finish up the workflow is what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine all this hair together. So we're going to turn off everything that isn't the hair. All right. And we're just going to merge all of this together. So I'm just going to go to merge visible. And then we can hide that. And then we can append the merged hair. So this isn't it. This is it. All right. So now that we've done that, we can now bring back everything. Besides this hair. Don't need that. All right. Cool. And we want to zero mesh all of this, right? So we're just going to keep it on the exact same settings, keep groups, and then just do that. The reason why I'm keeping the groups is because it's easier to work with when you can separate everything. And there we go. Now it's all like in perfect quads for you to be able to sculpt on without too many problems. But I'm going to click on this a couple times. What I did was I clicked on my hotkey for auto groups. So if you go to polygroups and auto groups, I actually set mine to Control Alt or Alt Control W or Control Alt W. And that allows me to just do that whenever I need specific groups. So my hotkey keys or my hotkeys consist of, so I have transparency mode where I can look at something in transparency and be able to see it. I have local symmetry, which is Control X. So that turns off and on local symmetry whenever I need it. Alt S is to separate any masked points that I have or any not masked points that I have. So that's really good. Obviously, you've already seen the auto groups one. And then I also have my mirroring. So I have Alt M to mirror from one side to the other. And then I also have Control Alt M to symmetrize. So those are very important hotkeys that I always use. All right. Now what we can do is we can Control D to subdivide this a couple times, and now we can work with our clay brush with a line in it, or the line alpha. So it's like this one or this one. Personally, I like using this one because it just looks better. And then we can control Shift to click on any individual one of these, and we can just start to sculpt on it. And we can follow the flow. So this is where I would pick up my handy dandy tablet, because I need the tablet for this. And you don't necessarily have to use the tablet. You can use lazy mouse, but it does help when you have pressure sensitivity. Makes it looks more natural. Oh yeah, and I also have Control C to do solo mode. So that's really helpful as well. So now we can just sit here and do some hair sculpting, right? And it doesn't need to be perfect, because I'm going to actually go back and refine this with the Damien standard. But it just needs to kind of like let your brain know where the the flow is going. And that's another thing. If you're not able to find a job, you kind of have to adapt to your own ability, your own skills. So what else can you do with 3D skills? Well, you can also 3D print and you can sell your stuff. Like you can 3D print your stuff out as like cute little objects or items. Just think of something that you could print out and then you'd be able to sell that online or you'd be able to sell it locally. You know, there's swap meets, there's flea markets where you can go and you can sell your stuff. You just have to kind of adapt to, you know, your skills and your availability. So, you know, if you can't find a job, you know, then try going to a flea market with some of your 3D printed stuff. I know that it's expensive to buy a 3D printer. Um, but again, that's an investment. You know, if you're afraid that you're not going to be able to, you know, get a job or it's taking too long to get a job or something like that, you know, then that's one option. The next time you get money, the next time you have you know, the ability to purchase like a 3D printer or whatever, get a 3D printer and start selling your stuff at like a market or something. You know, it's a good idea. Use your skills to kind of help you get that disposable income. Do the rings on the chest have a name? The rings on the chest? You mean the nipple rings? Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. You can make it perfect if you want, but I'm not. My my goal isn't to make this pass perfect. It's when I start refining with the Damien standard that I at least want to get a little bit more into the realm of, you know, perfection with that. My job is to try to like make it flowy. And I am very sorry for the lag. Never seen that before? Well, let me introduce you to something called Google with the safe search off. All right. I think I missed this one, yeah. Wouldn't hair cards be better for this? Well, it all depends. Hair cards would be better if I was making a game character. But technically, no, because you would actually have to have a lot more hair cards in order to create this kind of depth, right? So what you could do is I've actually went over this a couple times in my past videos. I did delete. I think I might have gotten rid of those videos actually, where you guys can't see them, but I can see them. So let me actually reference back to one of my older videos. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. Well, lovely. All right, let me go to YouTube Studio. Let's see. This is actually one of my older videos that I posted, and this is still a relevant video to this day. But essentially, this is what studios use. The reason why I pulled it is because it's not completely accurate information, and I want to have accurate information in the future when I'm doing these kinds of videos. Wow, there's so many videos. Let me see. I'm trying to find the one that... Ah, here we go. All right. So this video right here, okay, This video right here, I did not use hair cards. I used something called hair tubes. All right. So basically, what is a hair card? It's just geometry that's mapped to a hair texture. Well, you can do that pretty much with any geometry as long as you know how to unwrap it. So what I essentially did for this was I used hair tubes. So the reason why I use this is because it essentially simulates a hair card without having so many hair cards, right? Because what it's doing is it's creating a volume of hair rather than just a flat piece of hair. And that covers way more than just a single hair card. So basically at the ends, I flattened it, right? I transitioned into a flatter tube. And then at the other ends, it's kind of tapered. So it's flat up here. And then as it's going out, it's thickening up. And then it's getting towards the end, it's tapering. And what I mean by tapering is it's just coming into a point. It's getting smaller. So flat is kind of smushed, and smaller is just shrinking it down, right? Shrinking the tube end down. Don't merge it, because if you merge it, that screws up your UVs. If you keep it open, but you just shrink it, then your UVs are still intact, and that holds up your hair card textures. All right. So that's essentially what I did. And then you can also put like little flat planes in there to simulate flyaways and to simulate what do you call it? Variation. So like you would also have like a flat card in there to simulate the flyaways and the variation and, you know, curls or whatever like that. So that's essentially what I did in this video. So I'm going to show you what I started with. This is the tube that I started with. I ended up subdividing it very much down the end of it, and that allowed me to get the shape of the tube, right? And then I created a polygroup for every single two of these. So if you imagine a hair card, imagining a hair card is like a flat plane with like a division in it to raise it up a little bit. Well, that's essentially what the hair card is, right? And that's what I did with the tube. I just took every two of these, put it into a polygroup, and that was my hair card that I was going to UV. And then I just took each one of those, separated them. I separated them, and then I UV'd it. I just mapped them to a UV. And then after that, I just brought it back into here and just shaped it. And that was it. So that's essentially what I did. But for this, you could do the same thing. You can use hair tubes and then flat planes as well, a combination of the both to get some interesting hair designs. It's been a while since I catched you on the stream. Cheers, man. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by, man. Welcome back. All right, so we're going with Damien's Standard. And we're going to start refining these a little bit more. See, I have to reach down to do my shortcuts because, again, I am left-handed, and all of my shortcuts are on the left side of the keyboard. So now here's where we would like go back through and like we would refine it, and we would kind of like bring out some points. And I'm using the Damien Standard, but you can use Orb Cracked or whatever floats your boat. And these are going to stand out more than those ones that you just did, right? Because this is a stronger stroke, essentially. I'm not really worried about what you can't see. I'm just going to try to refine what you can see. Oh my god, dude. My tablet is a little bit off, which is kind of annoying. So I have to kind of get into these like comfortable stroke positions. It's funny because like the more stuff that's on the screen, the harder it is to sculpt, because the more intensive it is. So I think essentially what it is like ZBrush is kind of just calculating what you see on your screen rather than, you know, how many polygons are there. If that makes any sense. I don't know. Maybe it's not doing that. It just feels like every time I get closer, it like lags a lot. Okay, I'm going to also turn up the lazy mouse as well. That way we can get some smoother strokes in here. Yeah, it's working a lot better. Every time I hit that edge. There must be some janky topology right there for it to keep doing that. Yeah, I think there's some messed up topology right there. It's okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to use snake hook with the accu-curve. We're just going to pull out these. I still feel like this back might be a little bit too puffy. So I kind of want to drop it down a bit and then have it puff out at the very like kind of end. So I'm just kind of squeezing it towards the mask. With a live recorded, wish I could watch when I get home. I'm at work right now. Yeah, it'll be up. The live recorder will be up for a while. But I am gonna stop the stream, you guys. It's getting pretty late in the day. Okay. And I want to say thank you guys so much for stopping by and having some fun. And I will see you guys in the next stream. Hopefully it'll be soon, all right? And we'll start refining like the suit and everything. And I don't know, maybe we'll do some hair cards for the hair, making it look a little bit better. All right. So awesome. All right. Take care, you guys. And thank you again so much for stopping by.